in due course following this meeting. Thank you. Item 1, the minutes. Are the minutes agreed? Item 2, declarations of interest.
Chair, the 3 declarations of interest have been recorded in the minutes.
The Mayor's communication, they've been circulated. Can they be noted, please? Recognition of community achievement. Can I invite Councillor David Williams to say a few words?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Colleagues, I'd like to take a few moments to recognise a group of cyclists from Knowsley who took to their bikes this summer and travelled the length of the country to raise money for local charities. Danny McLaughlin, the lead organiser, and his team of 25 to 65-year-old gentlemen who all attend the same gym at Knowsley Leisure and Culture Park, set off from Land's End on the 3rd of July and covered, well, this is undebatable, should have been 893 miles, but he did 974 with a few farmers' fields to John O'Groats in 8 stages over 8.5 days. The 13 riders, supported by a backup team of 3, rode through all weathers and across all terrains to reach their destination, and despite a couple of nasty crashes, all 13 were able to complete the whole distance. They even managed to visit their chosen charities for a photo shoot and a cup of tea along the way. Video footage and photographs were taken by the team, showed that this trip was not just a ride in the park, and was a momentous achievement. It was to complete the journey. Colleagues, the team collected over to date £27,000 for 3 local charities: Willowbrook Hospice, Whiston Initiative Culture and Heritage, Knowsley Adult Disability Day Service, and the children's charity Destination Florida. The team presented their cheques to the local charities at the leisure park. Madam Mayor, this was the 3rd time in 6 months that the group had ridden for charity, previously completed an 8-hour sponsored sprint, and this weekend also completed in the 3rd time for the Alderhay Santa Dash. Therefore, I'd like to ask colleagues to join me in congratulating on their achievement and paying tribute to their fundraising. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Well done. I'd like to ask the representative of Melbourne to come forward, please. Thank you, and what an achievement. Item 4, public question time. Can I invite Mr. Benn to come forward, please?
Okay. My name's Roy Bentham. I'm on the National Committee of the Blacklist Support Group. I'm here in that capacity. Further to the construction industry blacklists, notice of motion agreed by Knowsley Council at its meeting on 19th of September 2012. Can the leader please give assurance that there will be no publicly funded contracts to the companies within the construction industry that have been involved in the practice of blacklisting for the foreseeable future and until any High Court proceedings against such companies are concluded at the very earliest?
Thank you, Mr. Benn. Can I ask Councillor Moorhead?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Thanks, Mr. Bentham, for your question. Can I ask my colleague Bill Waitman to respond to that question? Thank you.
What? There will be a response to that question. So we can't Yes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Moorhead, and can I thank Mr. Bentham for the question. Colleagues, back in September 2012, the Council did indeed unanimously approve a notion of motion in relation to blacklisting activity within the construction industry. At that time, we resolved that blacklisting is an unacceptable practice and cannot be condoned. This remains the Council's stance on this deplorable activity. You may be aware that there is a High Court case in progress which is due to be heard in 2016. This case has been brought by a group of claimants who feel that their careers have suffered due to blacklisting by numerous construction companies who are defendants in the action. A significant number of construction firms involved in these proceedings have now admitted wrongdoing and have expressed regret for their participation in this scandalous activity uncovered by the Information Commissioner. Colleagues, the Council is required to procure any works or indeed supplies or services in accordance with the relevant legislation. Unfortunately, that legislation limits a public authority's ability to exclude companies who have admitted or are alleged to have engaged in this type of illegal activity. In fact, the exclusion rules are clear in that they are not a means of punishing firms for past wrongdoings. Rather, they are a tool to put right past wrongdoings and to ensure that it does not reoccur. It does, though, through the concept of self-cleaning. This is where a firm that is subject to exclusion can supply details of measures which will prevent the wrongdoings from reoccurring. This means that the public authority can only exclude a firm where it is not satisfied that a firm has learned from its previous mistakes and that a similar event will not occur. Mr. Bentham's question calls for the assurance that firms engaged in the illegal activity will not be awarded public funded contracts until the High Court proceedings against such companies are concluded. Unfortunately, this will not be possible, as the legislation states that guilty firms can only be excluded during the period of 3 years from the date of the relevant event. Despite their own admission of wrongdoing, the firms in question have not been convicted of any breach of the legislation. In addition, the events date back to 2009, which means that the 3-year term has now expired. However, if any firm is convicted in the future, we will take the appropriate action in accordance with the relevant law. Whilst it is difficult to exclude public contracting with any firms implicated in this sorry episode, I can assure you that the Council is absolutely committed to ethical behaviour in all of its activities, including trading and procurement. I am therefore pleased to report that we will be implementing a number of additional measures with immediate effect. We will further strengthen our procurement evaluation processes by asking about any convictions for any breach of the blacklisting regulations. Where the answer is yes, where a firm has been convicted within the last 3 years, we will exclude that firm from any further consideration or participation unless there is a compelling case not to do so. We will seek a positive commitment from potential contractors that they will only employ subcontractors who have not taken part in blacklisting activity in the past 3 years. And we will include within our standard terms and conditions the right to terminate a contract where a firm or subcontractor engaged by them is convicted for breach of blacklisting regulations. Colleagues, in conclusion, I would like to be absolutely clear that Knowsley Council seeks to conduct all its business and operations with the highest of ethical standards and integrity. And we will do all we can with the current legislative framework to ensure that we do not support companies involved in such deplorable behaviour. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor. Can I call Mr. Sells, please?
Thank you. I'd like to ask this question. Subject to the approval of the local plan, can the leader advise if the council will have any policy or plan to ensure that before any of the released former Greenbelt sites are developed, all available former brownfield sites and windfall sites are developed first, in order to avoid brownfield sites being left undeveloped while developers cherry-pick former greenbelt sites.
Thank you, Mr Sills. Councillor Moorhead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Again, thanks to Mr Sills for your question. Can I refer your question to Councillor Mike Murphy to respond?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Mr Sills. Really back in the plan that was created a number of years ago, it was always the council's intention to prioritise development within the urban area and only release green belt sites once the urban supply had been developed.
I can't hear you. I'm really sorry. I cannot hear you. I can't
Anyone
hear
else
you.
hear me? Can
I
hear me?
can't hear you either.
I can't.
I
So
can't.
unfortunately, I'll be possessed with voice now to pass the...
Haven't you got a mic?
Sorry?
The mic
Can
up.
you give us the mic, yeah?
Nick that man.
Is this okay? Can you hear me now? No?
Yeah.
Right. No, Mr Sills, thank you very much for the question. It was always this council's intention to prioritise the development of sites within the existing urban area and only release greenbelt sites once the urban supply had been developed. That was our original intentions. Once we submitted our plan, it was a government inspector who said there was a shortage of housing and employment land in Knowsley, and therefore we visited our case and we had little choice but to revisit our land, especially in the greenbelt area. The national policy requires the council to have a 5-year of housing land, meaning we had no choice but to recommend greenbelt sites should be released on the adoption of the plan. This is now reflected in Local Plan 9 Sustainable Urban Extensions identified for housing and employment uses. I can advise the meeting 64% of future housing developments will take place on brownfield sites, whilst 81% of commercial development taking place within our existing borough, the business parks and town centres. And the council has always been proactive in disposing of its own brownfield site, with a company called Countryside Housing developing 600 homes across 5 sites, with a further 1,500 planned for 15 other council sites, as well as those new investments in our business parks and town centres. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Murphy. Can I invite Mr. Philip Williamson?
What did she say that?
Can the leader advise if the council will back the Green Party's campaign to specify passive house standards for all new buildings on council-owned land, or as a condition of sale if council land is disposed of, given that this would help reduce fuel poverty, provide local building firms with valuable skills and experience, and help the council meet its carbon emissions reduction targets?
Thank you, Mr. Williamson. Councillor Moorhead.
Thank you again, Madam Mayor. Thank you again, Mr Williamson, for your question. Again, can I ask Councillor Murphy to respond?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Williamson. The council is quite aware of the Green Party's campaign regarding passive house standards. Indeed, this followed the Chancellor's early confirmation of his U-turn on improving energy efficiency through planned changes to building regulations. Colleagues, I'm cautious about the cautious about the Green Party's approach, as this may actually deter investment and undermine our growth ambitions this time. Our growth ambitions Our growth ambitions are key to our future sustainability, given the continued attack of this government on our funding. This council was championing growth in sustainable plan responsibility for many years. We've introduced measures to reduce carbon emissions whilst tackling fuel poverty. Measures that have seen us reduce carbon emissions from housing stock, private and public, by 20%, making us the best performing area in the country. In the terms of fuel poverty, which was mentioned, our Healthy Homes initiative and Warm Home scheme has seen up to 4,000 of our most vulnerable residents provided with energy efficiency advice this winter.
What about the rest of them?
We were the first council in the North West to sign up to the Local Government Association Climate and Local Initiative, and we were indeed signatories to the EU's Covenant of Mayors. When it comes to committing measures to address climate change, reduce carbon emissions, and tackle huge poverty, our track record speaks for itself. This demonstrates that we actually get on and lead by example. Therefore, whilst we're not joining the Green Party in their approach, we do indeed to wish them every success in their campaign.
You sound like
Oh,
David.
that's rude.
You sound like David Cameron there. Can you
Ladies
back
and
all them
gentlemen.
figures up?
Ladies and gentlemen, I understand your frustration that you're not allowed to speak.
There is. Hey,
There
hey,
are
by the way,
going on.
by the
So
way,
please-
we are, if you want to ask. As soon as the next
Can I
question's
ask
asked,
you, please?
I'll be asking the question. Okay?
You can also write in and ask
No,
to ask the
no, we
question.
didn't know the agenda,
Please,
so
could you
how can you
please
ask
be
the question?
seated while we continue
No,
with
we'll
the
not.
meeting?
If I want to ask a question, I'll ask it.
I'm very sorry.
No,
but if you
no,
don't
you
sit
can't
down,
ban
we
me.
will adjourn the
No,
meeting.
under European law, I've got my freedom of speech, and I will adhere to that. You will not bar anybody. You want to know something? There's people unborn yet. This is too important.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to adjourn
Too
the
important
meeting.
for it to be passed by yous already. You've already voted on it. So don't give it that we can't talk. You know if anyone votes against it here, they get chucked out the door. There's no democracy or free speech. Why don't you have a free vote? Because it's already been decided. Can't talk. We live here.
Peter.
I've got more right than you to talk.
Why don't you answer the emails, by the way? Why don't you
Walker.
answer residents' emails, any of you?
Don't tell me I can't talk. I'm
You
talking
don't
about
want to
it.
answer emails from residents. Shame on you all. Shame on
It's
you.
too important. It's too important for people. Babies unborn, but all our green belt to go. Once it's gone, it's gone.
Come on, say
It should be a public referendum.
Shame on you all.
You work for us, remember?
The public should vote on this.
You don't
Not
listen
you
to
lot.
the public, do
You're
you?
not paid to sit and nod.
Why are you running away? Why can't you answer any questions?
Shame
I bet
on
you're
the
not
lot of
one of
you.
these
Shame
lot
on
of
a lot
free
of
votes.
you. On you as well. You don't smile at me.
Shush. And by the way,
Serious matter.
thank you to my friends in this council for letting me know. Thank you. I've done it before, I'll do it again. It doesn't matter. It's too important for the vote to be taken and you're told how to vote.
The farce from beginning to end.
You've already been told what way to vote. What kind of democracy is that?
Sham.
You let your
Sham
families, your
democracy.
friends, and the whole of nosy down.
There's
For
no
what?
conditions.
For what are you letting them down? Hey, you got no family or friends.
Our fight benefits you, you just don't know it, or you don't
Just a gang
care.
of robots who go along with it.
Shame on you all.
It's
Can
a
you not
fact of the
see
Labour
what's going
Party.
on?
Your head's in shame.
You're all
Carry on
deserve to go
walking.
home.
Sheeple people.
That was an easy night, wasn't it? Easy night,